Hello, listener, and welcome to Book 5, Chapter 22 of Bite-Sized Tales, the audio flash fiction podcast. In today's chapter, we conclude the serial story, The Burden of Protection. The Burden of Protection, Part 9, Reunion, written and read by Chris Hussey. In Part 8, the trio trekked deeper inland towards the portal. Despite the morningside time of day, the journey grew darker, forcing Phrixus to light the way with his alchemy. While traveling, conjecture over the owner of the unexpected footprints led the group to entertain the possibility the prince may have belonged to Garret's uncle, Melchior. Much like Garret, Melchior undertook the family mission to keep the portal secure. But something occurred which caused Melchior to go supposedly mad. This incident caused mentions of him to be removed from discussion in the Westdown family history. This discussion led to the revelation that Garret's banishment occurred because of his dogged pursuit of the truth behind his uncle's own banishment. The trio finally reaches the portal and is set to begin the ritual when a pounding noise from the other side freezes them in their tracks. A muffled shout also from behind the sealed gates implies that it is Garret's uncle Melchior. Before they can even respond, a figure moves into the glow of the area around the portal. Chandra's blade flamed to life as she swung it toward the being entering the ring of light emitting from the portal. Phrixus stepped back, creating more distance between himself and the form. Garret, for his part, drew his own blade, taking a short step forward. The voice behind the portal's sealed doors shouted again, "That man is me! Please, do not strike that body! I will not harm you!" The figure stopped in response to the words. Stepping closer, Garret squinted. He recognized the face. "Uncle, is that you?" He studied the man. The figure was a ragged, emaciated mess. Long hair hung in dirty clumps from the tilted head over a hunched body. The stout leather boots, the now obvious source of the footprints, remained intact, but the breeches and shirt were faded and torn in many places, hanging loose and frayed. The figure's face bore a dirty and wild beard. Though Garret had only seen a few scattered sketches of his uncle, the being standing before him bore a striking resemblance. "I think it may indeed be my uncle." "It is I," the voice behind the portal shouted again. "My spirit is trapped behind here, but my body has roamed the lands around the portal since my last visit." The head on Melchior's body tilted higher, looking intently at Garret. "You have grown considerably since I last laid eyes on you. You must be my nephew Garret." Garret only nodded in confirmation. Melchior continued, "Garret, what we've been told about the portal is not entirely true. How is your spirit trapped within, but your body still roams freely?" Garret ignored the statement. "I will explain in a moment. I would prefer that moment to be immediately." Garret's gaze shifted from the portal doors to Melchior's body. He was unsure where to look. There was a pause, then Melchior's voice continued. "When I opened the portal and went inside, I was captured and subjected to the separation by those who reside on this side. They cast my body back through." "Why?" Phrixus shouted. "It is difficult to explain. Garret, please listen to me. I implore you to not go through with the ritual. Instead, I ask that you open the portal instead." Chandra gripped Garret's shoulder. "Do not do this. It is a trick." "It is no trick, I assure you," Melchior responded. "Even if I wanted to, I would not know how. The ritual is designed only to seal." Garret sheathed his blade. "No, I have given you the means to do so," Melchior answered. "How?" "My footprints, when you reached the shore. They were not the wanderings of a lifeless corpse. It was the pattern to unlock the seal." Garret's mind went to the pattern he traced when they first found the prints. His eyes then flicked to the geometry decorating the limestone doors of the portal. Overlaying the mental image, he saw the match line up. It was a different path than what he was required to draw to keep the portal sealed. Something with the prince had been gnawing at him. This had to be it. But why? Why would his uncle want the portal opened? Was it as simple as being reunited with his body? There had to be more. What proof do you have of such claims? You are asking me to trust a voice I do not recognize and the wasted shell of a body that stands before me. You could very well be the evil the portal is to protect against. I can prove myself not only to you, but also to your alchemist companion. Garret and Chandra turned toward a surprised looking Phrixus. Me? He spoke with obvious shock in his voice. How? You wear a bracelet and necklace upon yourself, given to you years ago by a man you never saw again. Though they were of questionable quality, you kept them for some reason you could never quite place. And since your arrival, they have been tingling, have they not? Phrixus's eyes went wide. Melchior continued. And how have you been coping with the nosebleeds, Garret? Do you still have the special sight they offer you? Almost on cue, Garret felt a warm stream run from his nose. He could feel conflict beginning to rise within as the realization sunk in. Only when the moon is full, or in the presence of the glow of the portal. Look to the light that it gives. Garret stepped back and took in the situation. The light from the portal bore a white hue and came from no direct source, as if it was reflected. Akin to the moon's glow, he thought to himself. Wiping the blood from his lip and taking a deep breath, Garret closed his eyes, reaching inside himself, opening up the ability to use his extra sight. His lids lifted, and his vision was treated to something more, something beyond. Auras danced around everything assembled. Each bore their own unique characteristics. Phrixus seemed to be carrying additional energies Garret could not suss out, while Chandra carried the bizarre essence of her tattoo. His mind wanted to digest everything, but he focused on the body of his uncle and the multi-hued tendrils reaching towards the portal, pushing through to something behind. It was the final proof he needed. Uncle, he spoke softly. Yes, you see the truth. Phrixus and Chandra looked towards Garret. He returned their gaze and gave them both a confirming nod of his head. Melchior continued to speak. The portal is a gateway to another realm. That is a truth. But it is less a doorway and more a prison gate. Prison? Garret was confused. What is trapped beyond? Phrixus asked. The body of Melchior gestured widely to encompass the world as his voice spoke. No, nothing is trapped beyond. You are all trapped inside. The depth of Melchior's words settled on them. Chandra shook her head. No, I do not believe this. He may indeed be your uncle, Garret, but he has been corrupted, or there is a deception happening. I knew I had an ill feeling about this. Garret, renew the seal, and let us take our leave. There is no deception, Garret. I will confess I do not know the full of it. But the beings we truly are not the forms you have on your side. We are of a different form, different creatures. Our souls were taken from our bodies on this side and placed in the vessels on your side. I have discerned that at some time in the past, blocked from our memories and lost to time, we were banished or imprisoned here. And our family was set as wardens of the prison, pledged to keep the doors locked, preventing any escape. Phrixus questioned again. What form do we possess on your side? We appear to be beautiful and serpentine, Melchior responded. Garret stared at the portal, then looked toward his companions. Chandra's gaze was stern, while Phrixus stared in wonder, his eyes glowing redder than before. Duty clashed with doubt inside of Garret as he debated what to do. The idea of his father, embarrassed by his uncle's actions and wanting to hide the stain on their family forever, made sense. But in equal measure, a dark secret of the Westdown family's true role also made sense. And I was a troublesome child, and likely someone my father could not trust, unless he was forced to, Garret reasoned. Chandra waited, allowing him to think for a moment, then urged him. Garret, you must do something. Garret took a deep breath, then looked at the pair. I will open it. Grabbing the blood solution from Phrixus, he moved towards the portal. Without warning, Chandra's flaming blade appeared and blocked his path. Chandra, Garret said flatly. He turned to face her. What is this? I cannot let you, Garret. It is forbidden. My family are the protectors of the portal. It is our decision what must be done. Garret's tone was firm. The dragon tattoo coiled around her waist, adding its defiant gaze to Chandra's. And we have been sworn to make sure your role is fulfilled. Her tone matched his. Garret took in her words. You are the guardians of the guardians. You know of what he speaks? Garret gestured towards both the portal and the body of his uncle. Chandra nodded solemnly. I am sorry, my dear. Your father feared you might make such a decision. He knew the risk of Melchior possibly being here and what he might do. He sent a rider well ahead of you to make sure I was available. He knew of our attachment and that using me in your ship was the easier path. Garret sighed. It seems I have little choice. You do not. I have a mightier weapon, and you know I am the superior bladesman. Doing what you think will be heroic will earn you nothing. In the end, you will be dead, and your sister, or perhaps a cousin, will fulfill your role. Phrixus's jewelry was nearly vibrating, sending sensations throughout his body. He'd almost forgotten it was happening, Chandra's betrayal completely consuming his senses. He was about to dismiss the sensation when something about the vibrations made him pay more attention. There was a pattern. Focusing inward, Phrixus found it within the vibrations and sensations they produced. Blocking out the tension between Chandra and Garret, Phrixus concentrated on the feelings. He felt the pinch of Ronan as the bird sidestepped its way across his shoulder to his ear. A gentle tug at his necklace spoke to the shearfeather's talons clutching it. As the alchemist blocked out the last bits of the world around him, he felt the animal's beak in his ear. Ronan spoke, a broken whisper chirp in his ear. Phrixus, it is Melchior. You know what you need to do. You have the means upon you, alchemist. Save your friend before it is too late. Garret spread his arms wide, one hand dangerously close to his sheathed sword, while the other held the solution necessary for the ritual. He moved slowly in an arc. You would truly consider drawing blood on me, after all we have done together and planned to do? Chandra mirrored his movements, the flickering flames of her blade dancing shadows on her face. The dragon tattoo slinked as if it was waiting to strike as well. I would regret every bit of it, but just as you do, my dear, I have a duty to fulfill, and will do it. It is my burden. Touching her midsection with her free hand, the claw of the serpent coiled around it. Garret stopped his motion, his back now to the portal, his hand inching ever closer to his sword. Looking over Chandra's shoulder, he witnessed Phrixus hurriedly busying himself with all manner of bits and pieces from his pouches. He stopped, lifting a glass vial high and behind. It dawned on Garret what the alchemist was about to do. He clutched the grip of his blade. Garret, no! Chandra shouted, lunging forward. The vial shattered against the back of Chandra's skull, haloing her in a cloud of gas. Staggering to one side, the ship captain waved her blade in weak defense. Garret stared in shock at Phrixus, then rushed towards Chandra. Her staggering continued, her sword hand now barely gripping the limp-hanging blade. Circling behind, Garret caught her as she fell towards the ground. You fools! She uttered weakly before consciousness slipped from her eyes. Garret looked toward Phrixus. Please tell me she is merely sleeping, alchemist. She is, and will be for some time. The pair sat in silence for several moments before Garret finally uttered, You have my thanks. Garret carefully ran his finger along the last line of the portal's doors. The deep red line of mixed blood fading at the end, pulling the last bits of the mixture from Garret's finger. As he finished, he whispered, Zydos, Sivart. Stepping back, he moved by Phrixus. The alchemist looked at him. Are you sure about this? Garret laughed. It is a bit late now, Phrixus. I have drawn the pattern of opening, spoke the sealing oath in reverse. It doesn't truly matter what I feel. We shall find out in a moment if I am a savior or a villain. A hiss and a puff of smoke ran the seam of the two stones of the door, and the grinding of stone on stone commenced as the doors began to separate. Author's note. So, the story here is concluded, and yes, it is a completely open-ended ending, and I felt that I kind of needed to do that. One, because I sometimes do like the idea of doing so, but also just because after 9 parts, I think that this was probably due to about end. Otherwise, we're going to be entering novella territory at this point. Looking back at this process as an experiment, using the cards to determine things, I liked and disliked it. First of all, in regards to the ending of the story and the cards, I did use the cards to determine what the reality of the portal was. I prompted myself with questions, drew some cards giving me either yes, no, or yes or no with a question upon it, which then forced me down a couple more roads to kind of determine things. I also used the cards to determine whether or not Chandra would actually betray Garret in the end. I am satisfied with this as an experiment. I realized, though, it's kind of a good and bad thing. And forgive me for going just slightly longer on this author's note. It's a very good thing because I like what the cards gave me in regards to the characters. They helped stimulate my mind to give me aspects of the characters that I might not have thought of myself. I appreciate that quite a bit. It is also a quote-unquote bad thing because there's a lot of unanswered questions in this story. And if it was longer, I probably would have been able to answer all of those. And also, I think, have a little bit deeper character development as well. But as an experiment overall, I'm still quite satisfied with it. I hope you were as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all in the next book. This chapter of Bite-Sized Tales has been brought to you under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Intro and outro music is Fantasy Motion by Alexander Nakarada, provided under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, we greatly appreciate reviews and recommendations to your friends. For more information about our authors, please visit bitesizedtales.com or follow us on Instagram at bite_size_tales or on Blue Sky at bitesizedtales.bsky.social. We look forward to reading to you next time.